ਧਰਤੀ ਪੰਜ ਦਰਿਆਵਾਂ ਦੀ ਇਹ ਧਰਤੀ ਪੰਜ ਦਰਿਆਵਾਂ ਦੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਧਰਤੀ ਪੰਜ ਇਹ ਧਰਤੀ ਪੰਜ ਦਰਿਆਵਾਂ ਦੀ ਸੁਣੀ ਧਰਤੀ ਪੰਜ ਇਹ ਧਰਤੀ ਪੰਜ ਦਰਿਆਵਾਂ ਦੀ ਇਹ ਸੋਹਣੀਆਂ ਸੱਸੀਆਂ ਹੀਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਗੁਰੂਆਂ ਤੇ ਪੀਰ ਫਕੀਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਤੇ ਭਗਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਦੇ ਊਧਮ ਸਿੰਘ ਦੇ ਵੀਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਮਾਂ ਗੁਜਰੀ ਵਰਗੀਆਂ ਵਰਗੀਆਂ ਮਾਵਾਂ ਦੀ ਇਹ ਧਰਤੀ ਪੰਜ ਦਰਿਆਵਾਂ ਦੀ ਖੇਤਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਰਿਆਲੀ ਏ ਇਹ ਭੁੱਖਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਰਖਵਾਲੀ ਏ ਇੱਜ਼ਤਾਂ ਤੇ ਅਣਖਾਂ ਵਾਲੀ ਏ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਮੁਸਲਮ ਸਿੱਖ ਭਰਾਵਾਂ ਦੀ ਇਹ ਧਰਤੀ ਪੰਜ ਦਰਿਆਵਾਂ ਦੀ ਇਹ ਧਰਤੀ ਦੁੱਲੇ ਪੱਟੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਸੱਚੇ ਗਵਾਹ ਦੀ ਤੇ ਸਾਹ ਵਿੱਚ ਚੱਲਦੇ ਸਾਹ ਦੀ ਯਾਰਾਂ ਗਲ ਪਈਆਂ ਬਾਵਾਂ ਦੀ ਇਹ ਧਰਤੀ ਪੰਜ ਦਰਿਆਵਾਂ ਦੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਆਈ ਤੇ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਏ ਨੀ ਹਾਚ ਪੁੱਤ ਚੜਾਉਂਦੀ ਏ ਸਵਾ ਲੱਖ ਨਾਲ ਇੱਕ ਲੜਾਉਂਦੀ ਏ ਸਰਬਤਲੀ ਨੇਕ ਦੁਆਵਾਂ ਦੀ ਇਹ ਧਰਤੀ ਪੰਜ ਦਰਿਆਵਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਦ ਆਇਆ ਮਹੀਨਾ ਸਾਵਣ ਦਾ ਪਿਪਨਾ ਤੇ ਪੀਣਾ ਪਾਵਨ ਦਾ ਤੇ ਰੁਸਿਆ ਯਾਰ ਮਨਾਵਣ ਦਾ ਗੱਲ ਤੁਰਦੀ ਅਸਰੇ ਚਾਵਾਂ ਦੀ ਇਹ ਧਰਤੀ ਪੰਜ ਮੇਰੀ ਧਰਤੀ ਪੰਜ ਦਰਿਆਵਾਂ ਦੀ ਇਹ ਕੰਮੇ ਵਾਲੇ ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਜਿਹਨੇ ਇਸ ਧਰਤੀ ਤੇ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਏ ਉਹਨੇ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਤੋਂ ਕੀ ਲੈਣਾ ਏ ਮਿੱਟੀ ਸੰਦਲੀਏ ਦੀਆਂ ਰਾਵਾਂ ਦੀ ਇਹ ਧਰਤੀ ਪੰਜ ਦਰਿਆਵਾਂ ਦੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਧਰਤੀ ਪੰਜ ਦਰਿਆਵਾਂ ਦੀ
Welcome to all. I, Umendra Dutt, on the behalf of Baba Farid Center for Special Children, Dr. Pritpal and his entire team, Dr. Sunil and Dr. Amar Singh Azad, I welcome you all to this evening, special evening, and we are going to listen a special lecture regarding autism and environmental toxicity. It is our honor to have such enlightened person and scientist with us to guide us and to teach us about what is going around us. May I now request Dr. Amar Singh Azad, who is the Director of Center for Environment and Holistic Health. He is one of the main pillars of the Kheti Virasat Mission and Baba Farid Center for Special Children. I request Dr. Amar Singh Azad to introduce Madam Black. Over to Dr. Amar Singh Azad. Thank you.
We cannot hear you.
डॉक्टर साहब अनम्यूट कीजिए. डॉक्टर साहब अनम्यूट.
Sorry. So, namaskar sab doston ko. We are and good morning to Madam Blaurock-Busch, because it's a good morning. Good morning. Because there's a morning, ours is a evening. We are quite thrilled to have Dr. Blaurock-Busch with us, because we know each other and we know the work she is doing since last many decades. She's PhD in human nutrition, and she's connected with large number of scientific bodies and mainly the International Board of Clinical Metal Toxicology. She was in leading positions, different positions, as advisor and as founding member, and detailed CV is there on the screen. And she has done a lot of research, and her research is relevant to whole of the world. That is why she is a known scientist throughout the world, and she runs a laboratory, Microtrace Minerals, which is an internationally reputed lab for environmental testing and human and animal health. It's a very rare work, and very few institutions or individuals are doing this work in the world. And Dr. Blaurock-Busch is a leading name in that field. This is a very important field because we know that in Punjab and its surrounding areas, we are amidst a epidemic of diseases which are possibly due to environmental toxicity, and an important part of that environmental toxicities are heavy metals. You might be remembering in the year 2009, we had come up with a very dramatic finding in Punjab that the Punjab's environment contains lots of heavy metals, including uranium. And that was a very dramatic sort of a thing, and there was huge hue and cry in the media, and even the parliament was shaken, and parliament had a committee on this issue, and that testing was done in the lab Microtrace Minerals. So Baba Farid Center for Special Children, for whom I am the chief consultant, we are getting the testing of our children from this lab since 2009. So we are quite thrilled, and we are very anxiously waiting this amongst the series of webinars. The first of the series is today, environmental toxicity and autism. We welcome Dr. Blaurock-Busch, and we are again thankful to her that she has, out of her busy schedule, she has given some time to our organization, Kheti Virasat Mission and Baba Farid Center for Special Children, because both these organizations are leading organizations in this region who are working on environmental toxicity. So please, Madam Dr. Blaurock-Busch, please start your lecture.
Thank you very much.
Madam, please share your screen share. Please use your screen share now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you very much. I fondly remember my visit to Punjab. I was there twice, and it was quite an experience. I have since did a lot of studies on autistic children. It started all with you and Dr. Preet. So very much I appreciate that you created that awareness. So let me just see how I can now get to the next slide. Here we are. I don't have to tell you things you already know, but it is good to reinforce. We know that autism is not very well understood. We know it affects children everywhere. And there are still questions that we have not sufficiently answered. For instance, why sometimes is there only one child in a family that is autistic? Why is that? And also, the question comes more and more, why do we have so many children with this disease? Is it because we are so much more sufficient and better in testing? Or are there really other factors that we're not yet totally aware of? We know that toxic metals play a big role. And in all our studies, this was confirmed. I do have to say, however, that the type of toxicity that we notice in the children varies from country to country, from region to region. What it tells me is that an overload of metals will affect the neurological system. It doesn't really matter whether that is lead, which we have seen in many Western countries, or uranium, which we have seen in an unusually high amount in Punjab. We have seen different types of metals in Nigeria, Africa. And the symptoms are autism. So we know that the neurological system is sensitive to metal overload. There is also Lyme disease that is mentioned as a cause. And then, of course, the biomechanical problems that can be treated rather well. Autism may be related to gene variants, polymorphisms. And in our testing, and we're only starting in that area, we know that environmental factors play a big role. We also know that nutrition plays a huge role. For instance, if a child has a zinc, a manganese, or copper deficiency, it will automatically be affected by toxins because there are certain enzymes we need for the detoxification system to work properly. And if we're deficient in zinc, in manganese, or copper, the SODs, the superoxide dismutases, which are in the first pathway of the detoxification metabolism, are inactivated. So we know, and we will talk about this in another lecture, but briefly it needs to be said, we all have the SODs enzymes. But if we have a slight deficiency in one of these elements, these SODs, some of the SODs will be inactivated. And then we are not able to detoxify properly. Now, this may affect the child, the born child, as well as the unborn child. We know that certain metals are crossing the placenta. We know that these metals, these toxic metals, can be found in mother's milk. We are aware that vaccines contain possibly mercury, thiomersal, or aluminum as a preservative. And these elements can affect the neurological system. We also know, and I have unfortunately witnessed that when I was in Punjab, that food and water is often contaminated. And of course, the younger a human being is, the more sensitive it becomes to these contaminations. And there are many other sources, industry and so on. And you, of course, don't have much industry, which I learned, but you do have agriculture that is ruled by industry, if I may say so. And it has destroyed a lot of your soil and your groundwater. So a big question that I have often asked me is, why is a child coming with autism to this world? We believe that the time of metal exposure that happens to the pregnant woman is very critical. And it does affect the body in different ways. This is just a research article I came across, and it tells you that we can actually do something. We can detoxify children with synthetic drugs such as DMSA, and we can do it with nutrients, and we will talk about this more today and in some other lectures. So the way to detoxify a person, well, it depends. We need to know what is the problem with that person. So I can only say to the doctors, listen to the patients, talk with the patients, find out what happened during pregnancy, what happened after delivery. Was the mother and or the child or both exposed to an overload of toxins during one time or for a long time? And find out when this was, how it was, what it was. In Spain, for instance, pregnant women can go to the dentist and have dental restoration without charge. But that restoration always involves mercury amalgam. So you see, we need to know what happens to the mother at a given time. And if we know it was a one-time exposure, it may have happened only to that one child and not to the ones previously born or born thereafter. So it is a puzzle we have to solve. We know that there are many, many chemicals used today. 201 have been identified as having the capacity to damage the brain. 20% of those are used frequently. So find also out, where does this child or that family live? In what environment? Because 1 out of 6 children, and actually the number is growing, has a disability involving the nervous system. And the toxic metals that are involved, like I say, vary, but most often it is mercury, lead, arsenic, cadmium, nickel, and uranium. When I was in Punjab, the second time I was at the university, forgot the name, Free University, Love University, I don't know anymore. But anyway, I talked with the people in the agriculture department and found out something that's very, very disturbing to me as a German, that you get fertilizer, pesticides, herbicides that are actually not allowed in the Western world because they're containing high levels of uranium or cadmium or arsenic. So we're poisoning your children, unfortunately. The good thing is that when we remove toxins from the body, we improve neurological conditions. Now, I'm not saying that every child is autistic because it is intoxicated. But you know, treatment to me is like peeling the onion. You remove one layer after the other because you need to get to the core. So try to find out as much as you can and remove as many of the causes as you can. And the good thing is that removing toxic metals is relatively easy. Again, we will talk about that. This is during one of my visits in Punjab, where I lectured at the university there. I'm there in the picture, a bit younger, but it was quite an experience, I must say. No? Okay. I also visited Dr. Preet's treatment center. And it really breaks your heart. It is, I'm a mother, grandmother, very difficult to understand what these women are really going through. And we all should do our best to support them. So this is an article that I wrote about the first study that we've done with Dr. Preet in about the metal testing in Punjab children. And what you see here is, now the purple bars that you see are the reference ranges that are used for so-called healthy people. So you see that we don't really have much of a problem in Punjab with barium, but we have a huge problem with lead, manganese exposure, overexposure, uranium, cadmium. Now you have to recognize one toxin alone is very, very difficult for the body to deal with. I don't know why I have this line here, but when we have multiple toxins in our system, if we are exposed to many toxins, the results will be greater, will be more negative. I did a study, you see this picture here, we did whole blood testing in Romanian children. And what we found is quite interesting. You see that one bar that, I don't know if I can do this. Oops, sorry. I will go back. Oh, no. I am terribly sorry. No. Bear with me.
You want to go to next slide?
Yeah, I try to go to, I like to go to the previous one, and it won't let me do that right now. Previous here.
Yes.
No, I want to go to, well, it's okay. We might have to just continue. But the thing is that what we did in Romania, what we found out is that the children who lived near toxic near areas where they dump, near toxic dumps, this is the word, I missed it. So the ones who lived near toxic dumps showed very high levels of metals like lead in blood. So if we would do a blood test on a child living in a toxic area, we would find high levels. Okay. Now, when we did the hair analysis on the Punjab children, we found these metals. Now, this is a child from another country, actually from Egypt. And we find, again, a similar pattern: high cadmium, high lead, even silver, tin, and titanium. Now, the combination of this, it's a multiple burden these children have to deal with. So if we can remove only one or two metals, the child will benefit. We may not be able to totally remove the autism, but we will improve. And I have to say that in the years since I became aware of that, and have published articles, people have really contacted me. And there was this one man from Belgium who had 2 children. The boy was autistic, the daughter not. And he was, like most men, really affected very much. So we just did a simple hair analysis, and we found that the child was exposed to high levels of a certain metal. I don't remember what it was. I think it was cadmium or lead. The man was very, very cooperative, went to the doctor to help him detoxify the child. And I have to say, after 1 or 2 years, he contacted me again, because we only contacted each other through email. I never really, and on the phone, but I never really saw him. He contacted me and told me that the child, the boy, was now 5, was becoming totally normal. Wonderful. So that is, of course, not every child. I don't know why I have this red line here. Does anybody know why? No?
Madam, yes, I will tell you.
Yeah.
Because some participants has knowingly, unknowingly taken their cursor on the screen. So my humble request to
Yes.
all participants, those are watching on their laptops or mobile, they should not take the cursor on the screen. मैं सभी को रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि आपका कर्सर जो है वो स्क्रीन पे नहीं होना चाहिए, इस पे लाइनें आएंगी, वो चाहे मोबाइल से देख रहे हैं चाहे आप लैपटॉप से देख रहे हैं. मैं बेनती करांगा ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਰਸਰ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ ਇਹਦੀ ਸਕਰੀਨ ਤੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ, ਨਹੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਰੰਗ ਬਰੰਗੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਲਾਈਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਆਣਗੀਆਂ. So who has done this? Only he or she can remove. I can't remove.
Okay, thank you.
The one other way, if you want to remove it, you can stop sharing and restart just from same slide. Okay, then it will disappear.
Okay, I think I will continue and we just ignore the red one.
But my request, if you restart, it will be better, because otherwise it will go till last.
ਉਮਿੰਦਰ ਜੀ ਰਹਿਣ ਦਿਓ ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ, ਕੰਟੀਨਿਊ ਕਰਨ ਦਿਓ.
Okay.
ਕੰਟੀਨਿਊ ਕਰਨ ਦਿਓ, ਕੋਈ ਫਰਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ.
ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ.
Madam, please continue.
So you want me to restart?
No, you continue.
Okay, good. Okay. So now here you see the essential trace elements in this child's hair. And you also see that there is a great imbalance of nutrients. And this is what we need to work on. We need to balance the system so that the organism gets stronger and can really protect itself from toxins, because that is very, very important. And of course, you all know that it is very important with diet and digestive system and so on and so forth. With vaccines, there is a big discussion about vaccines. And I think, quite frankly, a healthy child can tolerate a vaccine. But if the child, prior to vaccination, has had a toxic load, a high toxic load, and you add through vaccination just a little bit of mercury or aluminum, it is like putting that one drop in a full glass of water. It will flow over. So we have to, before we vaccinate children, make sure that this child does not already have a toxic overload. I give you an example from my own life. I have worked in research in laboratory all my life, and I have always been exposed to toxins a great deal, especially mercury, but not only. What I didn't know at that time, I have a very intact detoxification system. My body is able to release toxins on its own. Still, when my daughter was born, she is now an adult, 45 or so, she was a very healthy child initially, but then she was vaccinated and we almost lost her. We found out through hair analysis, because blood analysis didn't tell us that, through hair analysis, we found out that she was born with a high mercury count. And of course, I can tell you why I know that so precisely. We have a custom here in Germany. When a child is born, we cut hair, the first lock of hair, and we save that. So this first lock of hair that I took from my child, we tested and it was very high in mercury. So when this vaccination came, the glass was full and it ran over. And we have detoxified her ever since. Not as often anymore, and we do it now with nutrients mostly, once in a while, depending on her health. We also go a bit stronger, but it's infrequent, really. So you see, it is very important that we pay attention to these events that we may think are not important. Now, we have done a study. This one here shows you that aluminum affects a lot of neurological functions as well as bone diseases. We have done a study in Mexico City in conjunction with the University of Mexico City and the University of Montana, USA. And we tested children who lived in Mexico City, which is a very polluted city, and we tested children who lived in unpolluted cities. And there was a huge difference in metal exposure. Now, the most important, I haven't told you. These were not living children that we tested. We tested children that were not surviving accidents. They were dead. And we biopsied their brain. And we found that the children who lived in the toxic cities already showed signs of Alzheimer's disease. How do we know that? Because you have deposits in Alzheimer's patients, in the brain of Alzheimer's patients, that are quite typical for the disease. And these typical signs we found in very young children. That is of great concern. It should be to all of us. Now let's go to some other metals. Cadmium. Again, I told you that cadmium is found in fertilizer, in herbicides that is used in Punjab. Cadmium also is part of batteries, which you know, and cadmium damages the lungs, the kidneys, the digestive tract. When kidney and digestive tract and lungs are damaged, we automatically are less capable to detoxify, because a normal body, a normal detoxification system detoxifies automatically through breathing, the lungs, urination, kidneys, and of course the digestive tract. There we eliminate with feces. So we should also pay attention to these organ systems. Now, interestingly, this is a study that tested people in China and Japan who eat a lot of rice. And rice can have high cadmium, particularly when it is grown in soil that is, again, rich in cadmium. Now, when these people who consumed that rice with cadmium, when they consumed good amounts of zinc, iron, and calcium, they did not show the negative effects of cadmium. So again, we are talking about bringing the body back into balance so it can support and protect itself. The symptoms of a cadmium intoxication: weakness, anorexia, loss of taste and smell, which actually is the same system you will experience when you have a zinc deficiency. So you see, it all goes together. Yeah. No. Why does it not? No. Now with lead, again, weakness, most typical anemias, energy loss. I would say energy loss, headaches, weakness are very common symptoms of nearly all toxic metal exposures. Yeah. For lead, very typical, people experience bone and muscle pain. The anemias are often found in women. And in children, we often find abdominal pain and digestive disorders. Anorexia, the hair loss, I would say is very, very common with lead intoxication. Now, let's see, I can see here what this is really. See my picture. This is blocking. No, okay. Okay, now in agriculture, we have in regions where there is a lot of agriculture, thallium is of concern. In Europe, it's not much of a concern anymore. It used to be used as a rat poison, okay? Thallium toxicities are quite severe. And they're still found in countries where thallium is used as a rat poison. So this is a very, very serious intoxication, the thallium, but fortunately, we don't see it too often anymore. Here. Nickel, that is very common. Nickel is not highly toxic. It is known to be an allergen. A lot of people who have high nickel counts are actually people suffering from allergies. And these people generally react to contact. So when they use jewelry, then they get rashes. These are very common in Western countries, actually. We notice skin reactions, breathing problems when people inhale it. And of course, the inhalation often comes from cigarette smoke. Cigarette smoke is very high in arsenic, cadmium, and nickel, also lead. So it's not a very healthy thing to do. So shortness of breath and so on, you all know that, yeah. Here I'm showing you what I call the mineral wheel. This is a tracing I did many years ago, and it will show you how the metals interact. So let's see, if you have a copper overload, you affect the lead, you affect the iron, you affect a lot of metals directly or indirectly. And if you want to have this wheel, I will be happy to provide that to you. Now we can detox with nutrients. Certainly we need a fair amount. There are the sulfur-containing amino acids, cysteine, glutathione, methionine, and where do we find these nutrients? The sulfur-containing ones are found in food that smells. The onion, the garlic, the cabbage. And then we have the antioxidants, vitamin C, fruit, many vegetables. Of course, you know, vitamin C is sensitive to heat, so you shouldn't boil your vitamin C containing juice or fruit or vegetable. The bioflavonoids also have the tendency to bind toxins, and they are generally found in citrus fruits. And then we also need the B vitamins to support the nutrient uptake of all those important vitamins. And you know what Hippocrates said, let thy food be thy medicine, and thy medicine be thy food. And unfortunately, we don't do this so much. We should. So how can we detect whether we have taken in a lot of nutrients? We can use urine, because what we take in, whether it is in fluid Generally, fluid is the easiest, but we will also release and excrete much through the renal system. And about the diagnosis of this, we will have another lecture. This is, again, on my visit to Punjab. I went to this family and checked the urine, checked the water, checked the soil. And there we found, of course, high uranium. So when you have a patient whose hair analysis, for instance, would show high uranium or the urine or the blood, check the water. And your water company in Punjab, the municipal companies, should really have information about that, whether there is high uranium in the water or in the soil. Whether they will tell you is another story. Hopefully they do. So now we are coming to the end of the lecture. I'm just showing you a couple of books that I have written. There is one that you may want to read before we go to the next seminar, and it is found on the web, on our website. It is also found on the internet. It's only 99 cents, so it's very like nothing. And then, of course, the chelation therapy handbook that contains information about synthetic chelation, which we will talk about another time. And again, what is chelating? What is synthetic chelation? It is utilizing pharmaceutical agents such as DMSA, EDTA, DMPS, and so on. For children, we can really only use DMSA. And that is oral. It's fairly simple. It doesn't have many side effects. But my advice would always be start with nutritional detoxification first before you go to the heavier, the more synthetic and the more aggressive drugs. Here you see people in our laboratory. I am the little one in the second row behind my daughter. That's the one with the brown jacket. She's a wonderful person. And they all support my work. And I'm very, very happy that that is it. And I am so happy that you took the time out of your busy schedule to listen to me. I surely hope that I have given you some food for thought. And if you have any questions, there is my email. Don't hesitate to contact me. I may not answer the same day, but I usually do fairly soon. I truly appreciate your time. Bless you. And thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Now may I request Dr. Pritpal to unmute him. And Madam, would you like to answer a few questions? If people ask, participants want to ask?
Excuse me, I didn't hear. I didn't
if,
listen.
If someone want to ask any question, would you like to answer?
Sure.
There are a few questions in the chat box. You can directly go to there and you can see. Okay, may I ask what the symptoms did you see prior to detox? And yeah, it is in chat box. Do you able to find?
I have the chat box, yes. Let me just go and read it. What symptoms? The symptoms are really, you know, when you look at autistic children, when I look at autistic people, I find it very important to look at their eye. If their eyes are unable to focus on me, that I consider serious. And generally, when you detox the children, you will see that one of the first signs to improve is the focus of the eyes. They're able to look at you. Another thing is that tremors, that comes from another question. The tremors are generally less and will go away. Another thing is, I think there are a lot of children who are, in the Western world for sure, diagnosed as autism, but they're not truly autistic. So when I meet such a child, generally what I do is I just sit and I let the child meet me, not the other way around. So if the child is able to come to me, if it is curious enough to come to me, that's a good sign. That's a good sign. And then, of course, what we do is, like I say, that's the easiest for the autistic children. I do the hair analysis, and then I see what there is and how I can balance the system before I go to serious detoxification therapy. The occipital instability, I'm not sure that I don't think it causes autism, but I think it can cause symptoms similar to. There are some physicians that I know who make sure that when a child is born, that they first work with the head. And of course, when they treat an autistic person, that they manipulate the occipital area. I'm not a chiropractor or an osteopath, so I cannot really say too much about that, but it is mentioned. I thank you all for these wonderful notes. The best methods to detox. Oh, your name is Amrita. I have a grandchild named Amrita. It's not really a blood grandchild, it's an adopted grandchild. The best method to detox, that depends on the metal exposure. For instance, if you have a lead problem, it would be very easy to use vitamin C. If you have a mercury problem, you should pay attention to selenium. You should pay attention to the sulfur-containing amino acids, the cysteine. So, and then the question, 10-year-old has a chronic constipation. Oh my goodness, you have to take care of that one. This is the basic. Before you can do any nutritional treatment, you have to take care of digestion. So why do we have constipation? Number one, the child probably doesn't eat enough ballast, enough what's the word? Grains, vegetables, you know, the roughage, you need roughage. You also need, with roughage, you need water, you need to drink water. And another thing is also, I know that a lot of Eastern countries have adopted Western eating. Not good. If, for instance, if you are an Arab child, I give you an example, you have most likely a lactose intolerance because Arab people were traditionally not equipped to eat lactose-containing food. They didn't have cows, they had goats. So I have always said to people when they have constipation, take away the cow, take away the cow's milk, the cheeses, and see if it improves. You can go to other sources. So that would be my advantage. There is on the website also, I believe in English, a book I wrote on food allergies. A lot of constipation is caused by food sensitivities, by eating the wrong food. Now let me go to the next one. Oh, what can you do to treat uranium overload? There is no chelating agent for that, unfortunately. The other thing is uranium has a very, very long half-life. It's hard to get rid of, if not impossible. So prevention would be the most important for uranium. Also improve digestion. Renal support is very important so that you can support the body in that way. Uranium is very, very difficult. I think I answered the question on when detox is working with children, with autistic children. Generally, the autistic children have constipation. So you must take care of that first. And then you give the nutrients. Because if you don't have a good digestive systems, the nutrients just sit in your digestive tract and don't do anything. At what age can one identify autism? Oh, I don't know. This is a very difficult question. Very, very difficult. And I really, I don't know how to answer this one. I really don't. I think improve the body to the best of your ability. What is the cause of repetitive patterns of behavior? That is a question for a psychologist, and unfortunately, I'm not one. Okay, so you can get the recorded session. Eye contact is very poor and speechless at age 5. You know, children develop in different stages. That we have to recognize. Not every child speaks at age 2 or 1 or 3. So give your child time. And if the eye contact is poor, try to support it nutritionally and see what happens. Is there any specific test to detect heavy metals and toxins? I think I told you it would be good to do a hair analysis. That's the first test I do. Then you can go to blood test and so on. I do not know what you mean by GFCF diet at the age of 6. You know, I like to also tell you, don't test for everything. I know the Americans have a habit of testing until, goodness, do the basics. And my belief is basics are a regular blood test, which you do anyhow, and then a hair analysis, and then we go from there. Well, I think those are now repeat questions. Now, when you have tested high for aluminum, lead, mercury, and so on, first clean the digestive tract. And then you can give the nutrients like B12 and zinc and so on. Very, very important. I would say this is from Swapnil Kumar Soni on alle, on everybody. I would say Dr. Preet could help you. Should I get food intolerance test for him? No, let's wait on that, because I will tell you in the next session on how you can do this yourself. Very, very simple and costs nothing. This is it now. I apologize for having to stop now because I have to take my dog for a walk now. It's still light, but it's getting dark. We have snow here and it's cold. So please, my appreciation for you to give me your time. I wish you all the best and give my big, big hug to your children. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, may I request Dr. Amar Singh Azad? We will take these questions, and these questions are recorded with us. They are saved with us. And meanwhile, Madam Doctor will reply those in the due course. And
Yes,
today we are not able to take up these questions. Now, before Dr. Azad, may I request Dr. Preet, Dr. Pritpalji, to unmute himself and say a few words. Dr. Pritpal. Pritpalji, unmute karo. Pritpalji, kahan gaye? Okay. He's dropped out. Now, may I request Dr. Amar Singh Azad to conclude? Before that, I would like to share the screen and tell the coming up programs.
okay.
Mundaji, I think let Madam go because she's in hurry. We can talk. We can continue. We can continue talking to the friends. Mundaji, let Madam go.
Hanji.
And request friends to stay for a few minutes.
Okay. So, Madam, you can leave for that. No problem.
We are highly thankful to her for such an enlightening talk, and we will be waiting for the next next webinar in the series. Thank you, madam. Thank you.
The next webinar is on the 10th of December at 7:30 p.m. and after that 17th, 23rd December, and then 5th of. Over to Dr. Azad.
Friends, please stay for a few minutes because we want to make some announcements. I'm audible?
Yes, yes.
सुन रहे हैं मैनू?
हाँ जी,
मेरी आवाज आ रही है? अच्छा,
जी, डॉक्टर साहब,
मैं सभी दोस्तों को रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा, हाँ 2-4 मिनट के लिए रुकें, क्योंकि हम ये अनाउंसमेंट, एक पहली अनाउंसमेंट ये है कि कल इसी टाइम पे 7:30 बजे इसी टॉक को हम हिंदी में, इसका हिंदी वर्जन हम लेंगे, और हिंदी में कुछ बातें जो पंजाब स्पेसिफिक है वो भी करेंगे साथ में, जो हमने 2009 से जो सर्च की है बाबा फरीद सेंटर फॉर स्पेशल चिल्ड्रन के प्लेटफॉर्म पे या खेती बात सबमिशन के प्लेटफॉर्म पे, हमने हैवी मेटल के बारे में काफी कुछ बातें की हैं, काफी सेमिनार्स किए हैं, काफी चीजें हमने जो 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 रूरल वाटर सप्लाई वालों ने, उन्होंने कंपेल किया उनको हमने टेस्ट करने के लिए, उनकी टेस्टिंग हो चुकी है ऑलरेडी रूरल वाटर, सारी रूरल वाटर सप्लाई टेस्ट हो चुकी हैं, और उनके में काफी एडवर्स रिपोर्ट्स आ रही हैं, उनकी रिपोर्ट्स में काफी ज्यादा हाई लेवल्स हैं। तो एक तो ये मुझे लगता है कि ये कल 7:30 बजे हम लोग फिर से इकट्ठे होंगे। और दूसरी बात जो आप शेयर कर लीजिए मिंदर जी, जो फर्दर प्रोग्राम है वो आप शेयर कर लो अगर करने हैं तो, ये होते हैं तो। नेक्स्ट सेमिनार्स, नेक्स्ट इन द सीरीज। ओ जो कल के, एक तो इसका हिंदी वर्जन जो होगा वो मैं लूंगा थोड़ा सा, और थोड़ा सा प्रितपाल लेगा। तो प्रितपाल का काफी रिच एक्सपीरियंस है इसमें, हैवी मेटल में और ऑटिज्म में, पर्टिकुलरली ऑटिज्म में। तो हम लोग डिटॉक्सिफिकेशन भी करते रहे हैं, ये सारे जो डॉक्टर ब्लॉक-बुश ने कहा है ये उन्हीं के गाइडेंस में करते रहे हम लोग। तो हम लोग काफी कुछ करते रहे हैं। ये जो बाबा फरीद सेंटर में जो कुछ प्रोटोकॉल बना हुआ है उसके पीछे ये हैवी मेटल टॉक्सिसिटी का काफी बैकग्राउंड है। तो वो डॉक्टर प्रितपाल को थोड़ा सा लेंगे और थोड़ा प्रोटोकॉल के बारे में बताएंगे, और कुछ मैं लूंगा इसका इसी डॉक्टर ब्लार्क-बुश के इस लेक्चर के बारे में।
जी, तो डॉक्टर ब्लार्क-बुश का अगला जो लेक्चर है वो 10 दिसंबर को होगा, शाम 7:30 बजे। वही लिंक रहेगा, ये लिंक जब तक ये सीरीज है ये लिंक रहेगा। और
उसका टाइटल भी बोल दीजिए, उसका क्या है? 10 दिसंबर वाले क्या टाइटल क्या है?
सर एक बार बोल दो, एक मिनट। उनका है डायग्नोजिंग क्रोनिक मेटल एक्सपोजर थ्रू हेयर एनालिसिस, ये उसका टाइटल है।
तो डायग्नोसिस कैसे करना है, डायग्नोसिस का कैसे करना है
जी। तो रिक्वेस्ट है आप अपने सब साथियों को बताइए, और तमाम लोग जो हैं, जो पेरेंट्स हैं जिनके यहाँ प्रॉब्लम्स है, वो लोग इसमें वो आए। डॉक्टर साहब, ये शायद दिशा जी कोई हाथ खड़ा कर रही हैं, कुछ सवाल पूछना चाहती हैं।
हाँ जी, डेफिनेटली।
हाँ, अनम्यूट कीजिए दिशा। हाँ दिशा जी बोलिए।
गुड इवनिंग सर, ये जो लेक्चर सीरीज है ये आप रिकॉर्ड कर रहे हैं, तो क्या ये हम बाद में हमें मिल सकती है अगर जरूरत पड़े तो?
बिल्कुल, ये पब्लिक होंगी, ग्रुप्स में डालेंगे हम लोग। ये सारी सीरीज बिल्कुल ट्रांसपेरेंटली पब्लिक होंगी।
मैडम ये ऑलरेडी वेबसाइट पे है, फेसबुक पे है, यूट्यूब पे है।
ओके सर, थैंक यू।
पूजा जी को अनम्यूट करो।
एक उमिंदर जी, एक थोड़ी वो भूल गए, मैडम को रिक्वेस्ट करनी थी ये शेयर करने के लिए, स्लाइड शो शेयर करना तो बेटर होता।
ओके,
थोड़ा उनके डाल के देख लो मैसेज।
ठीक है जी,
मैं शेयर, क्योंकि वो थोड़ा सा हो जाएगा, मेरे लिए भी आसान हो जाएगा, बाद में अवेलेबल रहेगा हमारे पास
जी।
तो ठीक है, मेरे ख्याल में कंक्लूड करें अब।
डॉक्टर साहब 3 हैंड रेज हो रहे हैं, ये लोग कुछ
हाँ, कर लो क्विकली।
नहीं तो हो गया तेरा पेट बस।
सर, हेलो सर, मेरा नाम पूजा है।
जी मैम।
सर, मेरा 6 साल का बेटा है जो अभी नॉन वर्बल है और उसको ऑटिज्म है, तो ये कीलेशन थेरेपी कितना हेल्प कर सकता है उसके स्पीच के लिए सर?
ये कल मेरे ख्याल में ले लेंगे। ये एक्सपीरियंसेस हम हमारे बाबा फ्री सेंटर के हैं, बड़े वंडरफुल एक्सपीरियंसेस हैं। हमने 2009 से के बाद हमने डिटॉक्सिफिकेशन शुरू कर दी थी, शायद 1-2 साल बाद ही, मुझे एग्जैक्ट साल याद नहीं, 2009 में जब हमें पता चला था कि हेवी मेटल बहुत हाई है, तो फिर हमने उसके 2-3 साल बाद जो डिटॉक्सिफिकेशन के शेड्यूल था बना लिया था, और हम डीएमएस से डिटॉक्सिफाई करते रहे, और उसमें बहुत वंडरफुल रिजल्ट्स आए हैं बच्चों में।
तो कितने टाइम तक किया था सर आपने?
आप कहाँ से बोल रहे हैं? कहाँ से बोल रहे हैं?
मैं फ्लोरिडा अमेरिका से बोल रही हूँ।
अमेरिका से बोल रहे हो? ठीक है
जी।
मेरे ख्याल में कल थोड़ा डिटेल में प्रिंसिपल शेयर करेगा इसका जो हमारा शेड्यूल है डिटॉक्सिफिकेशन का, कि कैसे करते हैं। वो शेड्यूल इतना मुश्किल नहीं है, अमेरिका में थोड़ा सा कॉस्टली है मेरे ख्याल में। इंडिया में तो हम लोग बहुत बहुत सस्ता यहाँ करते रहे हैं। तो अभी भी कर रहे हैं उसका।
अच्छा, और कल कितने बजे है सर ये?
वही यही टाइम, सेम टाइम सर, 7:30 इंडियन टाइम।
सेम टाइम है, सेम लिंक है।
अच्छा, ओके, थैंक यू।
कुछ और सवाल थे? कुछ और लोगों ने पूछा था?
हाँ, कर लो।
अलीपिका जी बोलिए।
Namaskar, Dr. Azad. It's a very informative session. Thanks for this. I've been looking around for chelation therapy. मुझे सिर्फ एक दिल्ली का सेंटर पता था. I was not aware that you already are doing it.
हम तो बहुत सालों से कर रहे हैं।
मैं पूछना चाहती हूँ कि किलेशन थेरेपी को हम स्पेसिफिकली, अगर इतना बड़ा रिसोर्स हमारे पास है, तो हम सिर्फ ऑटिज्म स्पेसिफिकली क्यों इसको प्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं? Isn't it going to help all major diseases people are suffering from in Punjab?
नेचुरली उसका हमारा एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है इतना, लेकिन कर सकते हैं आप। यू आर परफेक्टली राइट इन सेइंग कि बाकी डिजीजेस में भी हम लोग कर सकते हैं। वो जो डॉक्टर ब्लॉक-बुश कह रहे थे ना कि जो नेचुरल डिटॉक्सिफिकेशन हम लोग कर ही रहे हैं, जो डाइट पर हम प्रोपेगेट कर रहे हैं वो सारी डिटॉक्सिफिकेशन डाइट है।
No, I'm specifically talking about the chelation therapy. Because मेरे अपना पर्सनल जो केस है, मेरा बहुत ज्यादा डेंटल फिलिंग हुआ था, एंड उसकी वजह से मर्करी बहुत ज्यादा बॉडी में बढ़ा हुआ था। आई वाज सजेस्टेड किलेशन थेरेपी। समहाउ आयुर्वेद डॉक्टर्स ने मुझे उस समय डिस्करेज किया कि मैं ना जाऊं, इट इज नॉट रिकमेंडेड, दे मस्ट बी हैविंग देयर ओन जस्टिफिकेशन फॉर इट। But I mean, what I could understand after going through a bit more about on this therapy, I could understand कि पंजाब में तो इतना ज्यादा heavy metal exposure हम लोग face कर रहे हैं कि I mean, under supervision this can help a lot of people detox, especially the liver conditions we are facing today.
Definitely.
Shouldn't we, I mean, future have some light on this therapy?
बिल्कुल करना चाहिए, लेकिन ये प्रॉब्लम ये है लिपिका जी के जो मेन स्ट्रीम मेडिकल प्रोफेशन है ना, उसमें ये अवेयरनेस ही नहीं है हैवी मेटल टॉक्सिसिटी वाली। तो इसके लिए तो हम थोड़ा सा हमको ही करना पड़ेगा।
I think we need to build up awareness on this.
बहुत थोड़े से डॉक्टर कर रहे हैं इंडिया में, बहुत थोड़े से, हार्डली फ्यू इंडिविजुअल्स। बॉम्बे में शायद एक डॉक्टर हैं, एक इधर हम लोग हैं, देयर इज वन इन दिल्ली आल्सो, सो देयर आर फ्यू डॉक्टर्स ओनली। तो हमें ही करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि मेन स्ट्रीम मेडिकल प्रोफेशन में अभी हैवी मेटल टॉक्सिसिटी के बारे में बहुत कम अवेयरनेस है। थोड़ी अभी आ रही है थोड़ी लोग बातें करने लगे हैं, लेड टेस्ट करवाने लगे हैं, या ये कुछ हैवी मेटल टेस्टिंग होती है, पीजीआई वाले करते हैं। पीजीआई वाले कुछ पेशेंट्स में करते हैं जहाँ पे वो डायग्नोस नहीं कर पाते ना, तो वहाँ पे फिर वो हैवी मेटल उसकी कराते हैं, लेड लेवल्स करवाते हैं, आर्सेनिक लेवल्स करवाते हैं, कैडमियम लेवल्स
करवाते हैं। बट दे मस्ट बी डूइंग इट ओनली फॉर वेरी, ये बहुत क्रॉनिक केसेस पे ही करते होंगे। पर
बिल्कुल जो अनडायग्नोज्ड केसेस होते हैं ना, जैसे जो जिनमें कोई डायग्नोसिस नहीं बनता, सीवियर सिम्टम्स हैं, तो मैंने देखा कुछ लोग ये पीजीआई में करवाते हैं।
So early diagnosis would lead to obviously early recovery also, no?
But I don't think they are doing detoxification also. Chelation therapy they are not doing.
No, but
they are not doing chelation therapy.
You are doing it.
Sorry. They are doing chelation therapy for few lead. I think they are doing, and arsenic they are. Few of the metals they are trying to undertake chelation therapy.
But then I mean, you are having a very powerful resource at hand. If made available at various places, this can help a lot of people heal.
बिल्कुल।
चलिए, और लोगों को सवाल पूछ लीजिए, और भी लोग लाइन में हैं। हाँ जी, और किसने सवाल करना है जी? बोलिए, अनम्यूट। मम्मी रानी जी बोलिए।
हेलो
हाँ बोलिए बोलिए।
सर, I joined a bit late, sorry for that. So you are speaking about chelation therapy. Is it the same as anti-clutter chelation or it is something different? ACC, anti-clutter chelation. ACC is done. Is it the same or it is this is different?
I'm not aware about this terminology. Let me check it. But we are doing chelation therapy. There are few of the chelating agents only which are there for chelation. One of them is DMSA. We were doing DMSA, oral
okay,
DMSA.
oral, okay, oral chelation.
Oral DMSA therapy.
DMSA, okay, got it. Thank you, sir. I just wanted to understand that.
पूजा जी, पूजा जी अनम्यूट कीजिए जरा, आपने हाथ खड़ा किया है।
हेलो
जी बोलिए।
जी मैम।
जी, एक्चुअली मैंने क्वेश्चन पूछ लिया था बट
ठीक है, कोई बात
तो
नहीं, फिर कल बात करेंगे, फिर छोड़िए, तो पूछ लिया तो
थैंक
कल
यू।
बात करेंगे, ठीक है? हाँ, भूमि रानी जी, भूमि रानी, महालक्ष्मी जी भी कहना चाहती हैं, ओके। महालक्ष्मी जी अनम्यूट कीजिए अपने आप को।
हाँ सर, एक्चुअली क्या है कि मेरा लड़का ASD है और ADHD भी है, अटेंशन की भी प्रॉब्लम है, तो वो अटेंशन के लिए हम क्या कर सकते हैं?
मेरे ख्याल में थोड़ा डिटेल बात कल करें इस प्रोटोकॉल के बारे में, डिटॉक्सिफिकेशन प्रोटोकॉल के बारे में कल बात कर लेंगे थोड़ा सा पीछे जाकर।
ओके, थैंक यू।
हाँ जी, मधु जी बोलिए, मधु जी अनम्यूट कीजिए।
ये बाबा फरीद सेंटर फॉर स्पेशल चिल्ड्रन ये कहाँ पर है?
ये डॉक्टर साहब
फरीदकोट पंजाब का। आप कहाँ से बोल रहे हैं?
मैं विशाखापट्टनम, आंध्र प्रदेश।
ये पंजाब में डिस्ट्रिक्ट हेडक्वार्टर है फरीदकोट। हाँ वहाँ पे है ये। एक बठिंडा में 2 सेंटर है इसके, एक बठिंडा में और फरीदकोट में।
ओके, थैंक
यू। समवन हैज अ नंबर, नाम नहीं पता, उनका मोबाइल नंबर से है। ये गैलेक्सी फोन किसका है? अनम्यूट कर ले, वो बोलें, कोई सवाल करना है तो।
हाँ जी सर, ये ऑटिज्म जो हैवी मेटल से सिर्फ ऑटिज्म नहीं होता है। मैं सर एसेंशियल ट्रेमर से सफ़र कर रहा हूँ काफ़ी टाइम से, और मैं पहले थोड़ा इधर उधर भटकता रहा। लोगों को और भी साइकोलॉजिकल इश्यूज हैं सर हैवी मेटल से बहुत ज़्यादा।
बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हैं। ये ऑटिज्म इज जस्ट वन पार्ट ऑफ इट। Heavy metals cause lots of morbidity and premature death and even reproductive health issues, even heart attacks, blood pressure, neurological disorders, psychiatric disorders. You are perfectly right in saying so.
जी, सो डॉक्टर साहब इसके साथ ही आज का हो गया। तो डॉक्टर प्रीत आ गए। डॉक्टर साहब, हाँ डॉक्टर साहब,
थोड़ी आवाज खराब होगी थोड़ी। चल बोले। हाँ बोले। हाँ जी, प्लीज कंटिन्यू।
डॉक्टर साहब।
जी
कहाँ हैं?
जी।
अरे आपका कैमरा बंद है यार। हाँ, आपको बुला रहे थे पहले, आप वो बोलने की बजाय वो अनम्यूट।
सॉरी, मेरा मेरे जूम डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया था।
अच्छा, चलिए अब आप लोगों को धन्यवाद तो कर दीजिए। तो मैं डॉक्टर प्रितपाल जो बाबा फरीद सेंटर फॉर स्पेशल चिल्ड्रन के हेड हैं, नाउ आई रिक्वेस्ट डॉक्टर प्रितपाल टू से फ्यू वर्ड्स ऑफ थैंक्स। डॉक्टर प्रितपाल
जी, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया पूरे देश से जुड़े हुए सभी पेरेंट्स को और प्रोफेशनल्स को। एंड हमारी ये छोटी सी कोशिश है कि हम काफी लंबे समय से इसके ऊपर चाह रहे थे कि हैवी मेटल टॉक्सिसिटी, बायोमेडिकल प्रोटोकॉल्स, व्हाटएवर जो भी पूरी दुनिया के अंदर जो प्रोटोकॉल चल रहे हैं, तो इनके ऊपर थोड़ा डिबेट हो, क्या ये सही है क्या गलत है। तो सो इस पे हमारा एक छोटा सा इनिशिएटिव है कि हमने सारे इंटरनेशनल एक्सपर्ट्स को हम आपके सामने लेके आएंगे और हमारी आपसे प्लीज रिक्वेस्ट है कि आप जितने भी लोग इसमें अभी ज्वाइन हुए हैं तो आप प्लीज हमारा जो लिंक है कल के वेबिनार के लिए, नेक्स्ट वेबिनार्स के लिए आप अपनी ड्यूटी निभाएं और मैक्सिमम लोगों को इसके अंदर जूम के अंदर लेके आए वेबिनार्स को। एंड इट बी श्योर इट बी टोटली फ्री और हमारा छोटा सा इनिशिएटिव है, इसको आप कंटिन्यू करें। हम कल आपकी वेट करेंगे। कल हम डिटेल के अंदर इसी हेवी मेटल टॉक्सिसिटी के ऊपर डिस्कस करेंगे एंड हमारे क्या क्या एक्सपीरियंस है पिछले 10 साल से वो भी हम आपसे शेयर करेंगे। थैंक यू टू ऑल।
थैंक यू। और मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा जितने लोग पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं, अगर वो चाहते हैं कि उनको व्हाट्सएप पे इसका मैसेज रेगुलर मिले तो ये जो चैट बॉक्स है जूम का, इसमें अपना व्हाट्सएप नंबर डाल दें तो देन वी विल एबल टू रिमाइंड, क्योंकि लोग भूल जाते हैं तो हम उनको याद दिलाने की कोशिश करते रहेंगे कि ये वेबिनार है, ये लिंक है, आप इसको क्लिक कीजिए। तो बहुत धन्यवाद। डॉक्टर सुनील भी हैं। डॉक्टर सुनील जी, कुछ शब्द कहने हैं आपने? आप सिर हिला रहे हैं। सुनील जी अनम्यूट कीजिए अगर कुछ कहना।
थैंक यू ऑल join this.
तो धन्यवाद सबका। मैं दोबारा कहूंगा सभी अपना व्हाट्सएप नंबर डाल दें इस चैट बॉक्स में और हम जो है ये आपको रिमाइंड कराते रहेंगे। कल शाम को मिलेंगे 7:30 बजे इसी लिंक पर। डॉक्टर अमर सिंह आजाद हिंदी में बात करेंगे ऑटिज्म पर। सब लोगों को लाइए, जिन लोगों को आज नहीं बता सके प्रचार कीजिए, लाइए। बाबा फरीद सेंटर फॉर स्पेशल चिल्ड्रन ये बहुत बड़ा काम कर रहा है और ये समाज का एक बहुत बड़ा ऐसा वर्ग है जिस विषय को एड्रेस करने की जरूरत थी और वो बाबा फरीद सेंटर कर रहा है काम। आप लोगों के सहयोग की आवश्यकता है। धन्यवाद, नमस्कार।